Hi, welcome to the Doggy Dojo. Today we're going to talk about how to get your dog to stop pulling in public around other dogs. In previous video with Ozzy, we discovered how to get our dog to stop pulling with inside of our living room or house. We played a simple game to get him to stop pulling on leash. Now let's see how that looks outdoors. We're taking the same game with the bowl and food on the ground. This time, however, we are outside, and outside we are walking by the bowl. We practiced this game inside a couple times, and he's done a really good job with it, so I felt like it was a good time to start bringing it outdoors. Now, when you're training your dog, it's important to build context to every single behavior. If you just train in one place, like say your living room or backyard, your dog doesn't necessarily know how to do that same behavior in multiple locations. You'll find a decrease in the behavior when you move to a new location. So be patient with your dog when you're practicing in new training areas. As you can see, Ozzy and I are passing by the bowl pretty good, and anytime he goes to pull on the leash towards the bowl, we just stop, and we don't want him to get to the bowl. If he gets to the bowl and he gets reinforcement for pulling on leash, then we're taking a couple steps back. It's not game over for us at all, but we want to make sure he never gets to the bowl. Now, what you'll see here in a second is the beauty of reward-based training. In reward-based training, you can increase the excitement level or the amount of reinforcement that you give your dog. So when I talk about reinforcement, I'm not just talking about food. Food is a great resource or great reward for your dog, but we also talk about pets and praise and toys as well. In this instance, I just have my pets and praise to increase along with giving him multiple cookies. What I started to see is I started to see him when he looked at the bowl, instead of pulling towards the bowl, he looked at the bowl and then checked in with me and came towards me. Excellent. Big reward. Excitement. As you can see right here, I get real excited because it's a fantastic aha moment for Ozzy. He's figuring out, oh, pulling on leash gets me nothing, and staying and walking with you gets me reinforcement. So we went back and forth a few more times, and every time he passed the bowl and stayed with me, he gets reinforcement. Speaking of distractions, as you'll hear in this video, we have my wonderful daughter here. As you know, I'm a dad. It's so big! I'm a dad of a 2-year-old daughter, and she's learning to be a part of my everyday life, including making these videos. But if you want to know more about that and see how I engage my daughter with other dogs and distractions, go ahead and check out my brand new series with my puppy Mochi, as we're going to go through 16 weeks of training games for you and your dog to tackle and enjoy. And if you don't want to miss a video, feel free to subscribe right now here on the Doggy Dojo. And if you have any questions or comments, pop them down below. Now let's get back to the video. Now let's move on to a different type of distraction and reinforcement for Ozzy. Ozzy loves dogs. So I took some dogs and put them in my yard and let them just run around loose, and Ozzy was on leash. And we walked on a path, so that way it was kind of similar as if Ozzy's parents were walking in a park or a public place. This was an excellent opportunity because he started to want to follow and track with the dogs that were off leash. Now, hopefully Ozzy isn't tackling 4 or 5 different dogs off leash at the same time ever, but if he is, we can see that he's starting to get the idea that pulling towards those dogs or running with those dogs gets him no reinforcement, but staying with me gets him a ton of reinforcement. We started to also add some control behavior as well, just like we did with the bowl, just to make sure to have him check in and find other ways to get reinforcement. If you just do food all the time or just reinforcement at your side, what you're going to find is sometimes the dogs will get bored of that. If something starts passing by the dog that you don't want them to get reinforcement for, then you want to make sure they can have a sit-stay at your side as well. Now, this was a perfect opportunity for him because our neighbor's dogs were barking as well. So that was an added level distraction. When you're on walks and you're walking in the neighborhood, dogs are going to bark at you. Dogs may be off leash or running around, and you don't want the dog having to think that they have to engage that dog. That being with you and not pulling towards the dogs or other distractions is the most important and fun part of walking with you. Now we can dive deeper in loose leash walking skills and go in multiple locations, maybe with Ozzy or other dogs. If you have any questions or comments, put them down below. Thanks for joining here on the Doggy Dojo. As always, have some fun with your dogs, and we'll see y'all next time.